Man, back like we never left, man. Welcome to Real Shit Let's Talk podcast. Today, I got a phenomenal woman in the building who is the holy grail of all the praise and the Jamaican queen. How you doing?
I am blessed and highly favored. I'm so excited to be here with you today.
Listen, it's been a minute.
It's been a minute.
Long time coming. Listen, your videos, what like really got you? Let's just jump right into it.
Sure.
What really got you into the getting that closer connection with God and just preaching it to the masses the way that you do?
Closer connection with God. Okay, so my background. My parents were Christian. I grew up in a Christian home.
Okay.
So, you had to be dragged to church every Sunday. You know how it goes. Bible study, prayer meeting, and all of that. So I knew about the God of my parents, but I didn't know him personally. You can grow up in it and still not know God. It's not until I had my own encounter with God that changed my life forever. That's why I'm here today. I developed a personal relationship with God on my own, and that's what influences my creativity online. It comes from the realm of the spirit. That's what pushes me to influence the masses.
I love it. I love it. So profound, so well said and well spoken. Do you think though that when people say the other higher being of like Allah or somebody else, would you still be okay with that person in spiritual worlds?
Well, we have to respect each other. I can't force my beliefs on anyone. However, I do believe that Jesus is Lord for me. Okay. He's the only King of Kings and Lord of Lords. That is my personal belief. However, I wouldn't push it down anybody's throat. Now, I would tell you about my experiences, my life, and how it's changed. And it's up to you if you feel like you want to, follow that same path. But I don't disrespect other people and their beliefs and their religion.
Could you marry somebody that's not in that Christian belief?
Oh, that's a really good question. No.
What?
I am married, by the way. And we're of the same faith.
Okay, but what if he was different?
I couldn't, because our belief system is going to be different. I believe that's going to be a major clash. For me, personally, okay. I couldn't do it. You have to have the same convictions that I have for us to. It's called being unequally yoked, in my belief.
Okay, evenly yoked.
Unequally.
Unequally yoked.
Yeah.
But so let's say this though, he was the love of your life.
Oh.
And everything aligned, which made you guys evenly yoked.
Okay.
However, down the spiritual realm, he's like, I'm Muslim, mm-hmm. and you're like, I'm Christian, mm-hmm. and mm-hmm. you guys had children together.
Lord, we have a whole family? I mean, obviously, I would still love the person. If I'm having children with a person, I'm still going to have love and affection. First of all, I wouldn't enter into the relationship knowing in the beginning that they're Muslim. But if we're already in it, I would just let my life speak. Okay. And let my life be an example. Okay. That, of the God that I serve. And hopefully it will influence them to come over my side. Okay. You know what I'm saying?
But man should lead, though. Don't you remember that part? So then what happens there? Now, because, most women, you're a powerful, strong woman.
Yes.
And your background of being a true Jamaican.
Yes, I'm a true Jamaican.
It's pretty strong.
Yes, we're very strong.
So you're not going to fold or bow down easily for no defeat purposes.
I know. I know. No disrespect. Salute to, whatever, you choose to worship. It's just that, that would be a big deal breaker for me. And honestly, this is a hard scenario because I can't even picture myself being in that situation. Because, I would choose not to connect because for that reason. That's really big on my...
religious.
Yeah, okay. It's huge. That's a deal breaker for me.
How long you been married?
6 years.
Okay.
But I've known him since I was 12.
That's a dangerous number. I've known him since you was 12?
Yes. When he was 12, he told my mom he was going to marry me. And he made good on the offer. So, yes. And hey,
you can't. I can't. Hey, I need to roll a dice or something like that. Hey, yo, hey, 12 years old. Listen, y'all. At 12 years old, if you know she the one, she the one.
Shoot your shot.
Hey, I ain't never heard that before, but that's really good though. You guys have children, of course.
We do.
Okay, so what if your children decide to go in a different faith? Do you still love them the same?
Absolutely.
Do you still treat them the same?
Absolutely.
Okay.
Absolutely. I would still love my children, treat them the same. However, we're just going to disagree. And that's fine, right? Okay. Some people like Jamaican food, some people don't, right?
It's got to be authentic. It just got to be authentic. Like, because okay, since you went to the food, she didn't jump to the food. Think about it. Like, if I asked you to cook something like oxtail, beans and rice, and then a mom and pop shop is like, they're good. She's that old fashioned grandma that can throw down. Yes. It's going to have two different authentic tastes.
True.
But it's going to be like fulfilling, but you're going to get that real Jamaican, hey, drink this juice, because this juice that goes along with it, it gives you that feeling versus mom and papa, hey, get that soda right there, pour it over some ice. You be like, hey, mama, you did that. Good home cooking. So do you think the key to a man's heart is through his stomach or through his spirit?
I would say both. I mean, men like to eat. If you can really cook, it's in the seasoning. Jamaican people know how to season food properly. I'm just saying, no disrespect to everybody. I'm Jamaican.
You got the guy like, yes, I know what time it is. Okay.
And my husband, he like to eat. So it's nothing wrong with cooking a good meal for the person that you love to show your appreciation, and of course the spiritual aspect. So both.
So y'all feed each other spiritually. You guys do things in a divine way that structures your household to be blessed and to be fulfilled with the peace and to be fulfilled with the knowledge of love, prosperity, and honesty.
That's correct.
Okay, I like it. I love it. Listen, I'm learning so much in like 7 minutes. Jesus. But let me ask you this.
Sure.
Your dark days.
Yes.
How do you overcome your dark days when you don't want to be affectionate? You don't want to be talked to. You don't want to be anything but to yourself.
Overcoming my dark days. Honestly, thank God for my faith. Because in my dark days, there's a place I can run to. The Lord. Honestly, He's the one that understands me beyond any human comprehension. And when I feel down and I feel like I can't make it, we've all been there. We feel like I can't do this. This is too much. I'm overwhelmed. I don't feel like I can go on another day. I turn to my faith. I turn to the Lord. And every single time He comes through for me. He gives me a sign. He gives me a signal. He opens a door. You'll see a commercial with something saying, I love you. Or you'll be driving behind the back of a car and you'll see, I love you, or I'm with you. God has a way of speaking to me in very unique ways. And when I'm down, that's who I turn to. Honestly.
Would you say as well as your husband is your best friend? He
is my absolute best friend. He understands me. He accepts me for who I am. He loves me unconditionally and he supports me. That's one of the ways a man really loves you.
Go ahead. Speak. Talk yours.
Listen, Linda. He supports me. If I tell this man, baby, I feel like I want to be an astronaut. He will Google the schools. He will look for how I can be an astronaut. He will encourage me. He will buy a T-shirt that says, go ahead, be an astronaut. That's the kind of man he is. He supports my vision in anything I want to do. And that's how you know a real man.
Supports your vision.
He supports my vision 100%.
So when you're stubborn?
When I'm stubborn, he tells me about myself.
Okay. And do you receive it in a way that is not, what's the word? Abusive in a way, because nowadays in the modern days, if we say something to the average woman, she has an attitude, and she might say something. That's why you short anyway. And then you know, or you're like, oh, mind you, I cooked you some food, and you know what that is.
I know.
So how do you handle being stubborn?
You know what? Because my husband loves me, he loves me into submission. So even when it's a word of a constructive criticism, I know it's coming from a place of love.
Okay.
You know, so I might not like it. I might be in my feelings. I get in my feelings. I feel like, you know, going off. But I say, Nadine, you know, this man loves you. He's not going to say anything to hurt you or to harm you. And I just take it down and I listen and I accept his constructive criticism.
Does your true Jamaican side come out?
Yeah, man. Sometimes the thing come out. me a Jamaican, we expect. It's going to come out every time. Every time. And him understand patois. He speaks Spanish, but he understand patois.
Oh, so he's a Spanish man.
He's Costa Rican.
Costa Rican, okay.
Yes.
So you get up here, and then the Jamaican comes out.
All the time.
And then he's like, oh, well, oh, snap.
I know. So he stopped calling me babe and call me Nadine when I get like that. But call me by my first name. But yeah, patois come on.
In the 6 years, what is the one thing you had the hardest thing learning?
Oh my God. Hardest thing. I was saying being patient. Because it takes time for people to grow and people to learn, and everybody has their own learning curve. And just because it took me 2 years to know something, it might take you 5. And it's up to me to be patient that, you know, God is working on your character, is working on your gift. Just be patient and let people grow into who they need to be. So I had to learn patience a lot with my husband.
So then growing into the craft that you created on TikTok and so forth, and probably Facebook and different things of that nature, like, did it take you time to get to that point to where you was able to be boisterous about, like, the word of God, your peace, the things that you're going through, or just showing people that you can be vulnerable to the world and not just vulnerable to, like, enclosed doors? Is that true?
It took me some time, if you want me to be honest, because growing up in church, it's not the easiest thing because it's a bunch of broken people coming together. Okay. And broken people is full of, God is still dealing with people's character. So you're still going to get talked about. You're going to get put down in some scenarios. You're going to face all kinds of stuff. And I had a lot of training and character development. But there was a time when it really messed with my self-esteem. It did. It messed with my self-worth. And I didn't want to be vulnerable. I didn't want you to see that. I didn't want you to know that.
Dang, I don't know what that was. They was beating something down.
I know.
Jesus. Okay, so self-esteem. Is that something that you work through now?
It's something that I work through now because self-esteem is your accolades, it's your degree, it's your accomplishments. That's what self-esteem, but your self-worth is what you feel about yourself and what you feel about you and how you view yourself. Because if I'm stripped of all these accolades, who am I? I'm stripped of everything that I love, who am I? So I had to learn how to differentiate the two. My self-worth is different from my self-esteem.
Self-worth and self-esteem. All right, in reference to your kids, how are they transitioning upon the teachings of you? Are you happy where they're at, or is there a little bit more work that needs to be done to create them, curve them into the young man or young lady that they are to be?
Man, you got kids?
I do.
It's always work. It's always work to be done, you know, but I appreciate my kids. Oh my God, their age difference.
Yeah, you're always going to be, like, it's like I was telling him, when it comes, like, he sees the path of when you become a father and when you have the responsibilities of creating their lifespans, like of where they're going to go or where they're destined to be. It shows, like, so for me, like my 9-year-old, like I would tell him, be better than average because average just don't cut it. And I always say, who's the man? He's the man.
That's good.
13-year-old, he's like, this is the bonus. Being 13, listen, I didn't know what I was doing when I was 13, but at the same time, he is everything of what an entrepreneur is.
Wow.
I want him to always be encouraged and stay encouraged. That's my thing I tell him. And my 9-month-old, he's just, oh Lord.
You have all boys?
Yes.
Ooh. That's good. I have 2 boys. I understand. I have a 9-year-old too.
Listen. But just with kids in general, right?
Mm-hmm.
It comes down to it where you look and you have to say, being a parent is far beyond the most challenging job in all my lands. You know, having kids to a certain degree makes you level up.
Yes.
And so, like, when I've come across your page several times, but it's like when sometimes you speak, I was like, dang, that's directed to me. Dang,
I get that
that might just really be exactly what I needed to hear. And I don't want to hear the whole thing because it'd be like, because you might say something that's troubling,
yes,
and it's not as troubling as forced to like makes me feel bad. Yeah. It just provokes you to think. So when you say things to provoke people to think, it puts you in another like mindset. And as I was telling him, it's like, don't be afraid to have the kids, but your sleep pattern changes. And if you have
your anxiety
kids,
level.
right, kids with multiple people, you got all different personalities. So make sure that you say, hey, listen, we might not have worked out, but for the sake of the kids, we need to be on one accord.
That's good.
Does that always work? No. Is it always going to be fair? No. Shout out to all the mamas, because I would say without women in general or mothers in general, it would never be a world of true peace or true a learning curve within the home, because it's something that the nurturer of a woman brings to you. And it's not just for the aesthetics, it's more for the development. It's like how, you know, a guy can be real romantic, a guy can be a real true gentleman, a guy can be all of these things, but he had to not just learn it from what his dad does. He had to learn it from his mom.
Oh, yeah.
And so his mom says, hey, you treat me like as such. You treat your grandma as such. You treat your sister as such. And as you keep growing and you keep growing and you keep growing, you do everything that you're supposed to do. And this will ground you to be the young man that I sought out to you to be. And also, I'd say, your words speak volume. I've been looking at your numbers. See, I'm a numbers guy. So when I look at your numbers, I was like, I have to go all the way from the beginning and then work my way up, because I've learned that we all started somewhere.
Absolutely.
And that's what, like, even with like podcasting, right? We all started somewhere. Couldn't get you before, but I got you because you listen. It's very, very, very.
Like that.
It's very, very, very. It's very good though. But I was excited. I'm always excited. I'm always aesthetically overwhelmed to record and have good people that have a certain pizzazz about them, a divine spirit. Like I would say, 2 of the 3 podcasts that I have so far have shifted my mindset.
Wow.
And this is one, because I was waiting to get it. I was waiting to get you.
That's amazing.
You know what I'm saying? And especially you're Jamaican. So it was like you got that flavor, right?
Thank you.
And you don't mind where you're talking. You could be in your house, you could be in your car, you could be walking in the park. It just comes. And so like what I'm learning in my spiritual journey is that when it's not on you, it's in you. When the word is in you, when the word is in you, it's not necessarily. Now, I'm not going to say I'm holified, sanctified, do everything under the sun,
right.
But I do believe that is when you become a leader to some degree at whatever level, I got responsibilities. I got kids looking up to me.
That's
like
true.
My 13-year-old follows me like he's my bonus son.
Aww.
My 9-year-old son, he had a brother, like she had a brother earlier. So I mean she had a child earlier, so it was his brother, and his dad wasn't really like in his life like that, in and out. And I was like, okay, I don't mind. And I find like that was like we had to grow. And he said something about a couple weeks ago. It was like he talked to me and told me I can look at him as a father figure or be that role model for me at my own time. He's not forcing me to do it.
Wow.
And so when the 13-year-old can like calibrate that in his mindset and he wants to do the things that I'm doing, like he's following my podcast, he's following my clothing brand, he's following. So I really can't fuck this up, period. But I understand it in enough where that I am still learning. I'll forever be a student in the Word of God. I'll forever be a student in the Word of life.
That's true.
And I'll never know too much. And if I know too much, I'm in the wrong circle. I'm in the wrong environment, That's true. And so, like, when I watch you, it's like, man, I pass you on to certain people. I send it, like, a couple people, and I was like, yo, hey, she powerful, y'all. Y'all just got to sit, just stay tuned, tune in. Let me ask you this. When you thought about the way your life was going to be shaped, did it end up happening the divine way that you said it was? Or that you wrote out in your journal or anything of that nature?
No. I honestly and truly, I just wanted to be a business owner. All this that I'm doing for the Lord, to be honest, I didn't want any parts. I just want to do business. I don't want to do any of this extra stuff, but the Lord was calling me. It's something you feel in your spirit. It's a burden. It's a mandate. It's a pressure. It's something in the gut that keeps pulling you. And I say, God, I don't understand. And then I walk through a series of pressure and rejection and all that. And it was a divine call placed upon me by the Lord. And how I know, part of how you want to know that you're called, there's a difference. Let me give you an example. If somebody gave you some words to read right now and gave me some words to read, this is how you know it's part of my gifting. You'll read it. It will reach a certain audience. I will read it. It will explode. That means there's a grace that I was given. When people watch my stuff and they see it go viral, there is the Spirit of the Lord pushing it. You see? People are saying, oh, your tone is nice, your cadence, there's a warmth. But they don't know there's a presence behind that voice that is pushing it, that pulls you and captivates the audience. It's not me. I can't give myself the credit. I'm just a vessel that God called. But the reason why people are attracted is the grace. It's an anointing that pulls them. Like you're anointed to do podcasting. You're going to go far. This is only the beginning. This is your birthing season, where God has to see that you are faithful and that you are diligent and that you are consistent, so he can decide, where can I take him? Because influence is powerful. He can't just give it to just anybody, right? So if you're called to influence, he's going to break you. He's going to break you into a million pieces down to the lowest common denominator to see if you're still willing to fight for this. And if you're willing, it's only a matter of time where he can share you with the world and say, here's my son. He passed the test. I see it coming for you.
I gracefully accept that. Listen, I'd say that right there, man, is like, it gave me chills, right? Because I look at it like this, right? I jumped in on my brethren, one of my brothers asked me, he's like, why did you let go like your clothing brand and then do this? I was like, I always had a voice. There's a purpose and there's passion behind it. Yes. Like, this is my clothing brand. Yes. Audi 360 means aiming up to improve.
Oh, that's so
And
good.
so 360, so the world goes 360, your life goes 360, but it can go either way. And it's all the way up. And I said that when I want to do radio, right? Because I want to do one of those things. Hey, this is Smooth Jam 95. Hey, guys, ladies and gentlemen. Like, I want to do something like that, right?
You can do it.
But it was just because the tone of my voice and different things of that nature. I didn't really care about nothing else. It was just that. But I learned that I don't really want to sit behind the desk or hitting the switches. And when you oppose the idea to people,
talk about it.
They tend to gatekeep.
Ooh.
And when they gatekeep, it kind of does something to you mentally and emotionally. Yes. And your spirit begins to like, nah, I don't really want to do that. I'm good. Like you kind of fade off of your true desire because they don't want you to be better than them.
Come on.
They don't want you to steal something from them. And they want the spotlight to be so much on them that there are no opposing threats by no man, no woman, no shape, fashion, or form.
Ooh.
The gift that you possess inside you is so different. And when you show them that, hey, guess what? If you block me in front of me, I'm going to go behind you. But if you block me behind you, I'm going to go above you. And if I go above you, I'm going to go up under you. And that's how I've been feeling like about podcasts. That when I've learned that like there's some really good heavy hitters out there. Yes. Love them all. Respect them all. I just know I'm coming with my shit though.
That's it.
And when I do it, it's just like, I'm always going to be genuine. I'm always going to respect, and I'm always going to be a student of the game because there's so much that I've learned. Like I've learned from Brendan Boyd, Rich, Nehemiah Davis, David Shands, Donnie Wiggins, Him 500, and CEO Matty J. Like I just learned so much, like just watching them and how they move, and they move in such a business mentality, or they structure their podcast in a way where it's like, yo, I don't care if you like it or not. I'm gonna keep doing what I love, and guess what? We're gonna keep blazing you with this with script after script, chapter after chapter, and next phases of my life is gonna look different from the past. So that's really good, man.
That's it.
Listen,
I like that.
Listen,
I need an offering.
Listen. I'm looking for sponsorships and brand deals, everything. I'm always looking, because I know that, like, again, your passion becomes your purpose when you follow the process. And sometimes the process doesn't always end up like how you want it to be.
Just stay there. Just talk to me. Minister to me. Jesus.
Nah, it's just like I said again. A lot of your words don't go in vain. They don't fall upon deaf ears. And it's like I did a podcast called The Art of Peace, and the lady I showed you.
Yes.
We did ours. That was the quietest, most realm of like complete silence of. Wow. She's very monotone. She's very direct, and Miss Lisa, love it. Hey, her spirit. Something like how you said, when the spirit calls upon you. Yeah. She spoke, and I said, "Why did you decide to do this? Like, you're this big person and you've got all these accolades." And she was like, I prayed about it and I asked God, and if I had to think twice about it, I wasn't doing it.
Wow.
And if the spirit told me not to do it, I wasn't doing it. No disrespect to you, but I said, thank you.
Wow.
Because stuff like this, man, I went on a Wimbledon of prayer. I was like listening to my mentors and different things of that nature, DMing people. I was like, yeah. Come on, be on here. And then it was like, only the select few get the chance to do what I've done. And when you're the chosen one, you have to work, like you said, becoming that one. That one that people call you to be something, or call you to speak, or call you just to be on a panel. You ain't really got to say nothing. Hey, my name is da-da-da-da. I'm here, hey, and just chill and relax.
So true.
But also, too, one of the biggest things I would say is that your words mean a lot to the masses. And we greatly appreciate you. And you got to keep going now, you know what I'm saying? I can see you going on tour, you know what I'm saying? We just waiting on it, you know what I'm saying?
I'm telling you, there's a lot of
how can people find you, and how can people get in tune to Miss Nadine?
You can find me on TikTok, Facebook, Instagram, Queen Insight. That's it, Queen Insight. Or you can look for Jamaican Queen Nadine on all social platforms, and you'll be able to find me. And you'll be inspired, trust me.
Okay, now, I've heard January 19th, TikTok's supposed to be gone, so how can we...
I know.
What we going we gonna get lost in the sauce?
YouTube. I'm on YouTube. Queen Insight. You can catch me there. You catch all my videos. You'll still be inspired, because the gift is in us. Okay. It doesn't matter what platform goes.
Yes, ma'am.
We're the gift.
I love it. Okay, so I heard also switching over to Lemonade.
I've heard of that.
Yeah.
I'm going to check it out. I'll download the app.
Yeah. I was just speaking to my mom's about it on the way here, and she was like, yo, TikTok's suddenly gone. You got to download Lemonade and switch everything over. Yes. And then that way you'll be good. But I'm like, I don't want to do all that.
We'll see.
Yeah. Who knows? I don't think TikTok is really going anywhere.
We'll see.
But no offense, Trump's in office, so it just might just happen. You know what I'm saying?
I don't know.
It's no way, shape, fashion, or form that might happen, but we don't know. But you know, if a felon could become president, anything's liable to happen in this world. So that's all I'm gonna say. That's just my little spiel on the little intro.
Oh God. Let's go.
Is there any other last words that you would love to speak and say to the masses, or anything you want to ask? We can go.
To the masses, or anything I want to ask. You said something so important, and I'll say this. You see how you say they're gatekeepers? Mm-hmm. Why is that? What makes people gatekeep, you think?
Money. Fame. Power. And the power is really within the tongue. Mm-hmm. The power is within not prior knowledge to knowing that I can get around you. I don't have to get to you, but I'm going to get through you. And by any means necessary, shape, fashion, or form, I believe that no matter what has happened or transpired in that person's life, there's something that's a trigger for them, and that poses you as a threat, as a motivational speaker, you as holy, sanctified, or me as a podcaster. There will be some people that are threatened by me, but they don't know me. But if they do know me, then they know certain things about me that I don't play about my family, I don't play about my kids, and I damn sure don't play about my life. So, you know what I'm saying? So it's those things like that nature that I try not to bend the rules too much. But gatekeepers are the people who had it hard, but
that's a good one.
They realize that their hardship, it needs to be even harder for you.
Thank you.
And
you need to pay, right? I had to.
Right, and it's not that way. It's not that fair. Like, I mean, I listen. Shout out to Rich. When I tell you, Rich, when we had our podcast session, he put me on game on so much. Listen, after the pod, I stayed at least 45 minutes after, because he had so much knowledge, and he was like, "You're not here, but you want to be there. So let's get with the low hanging fruit." And to anybody else, they would be like, man, I don't want the low-hanging fruit. Everybody else getting that fruit. I want the high fruit. Yes. It's like, but you work your way up.
Thank you.
And I understood it. And he was like, it's like we all started from somewhere.
That's true.
And so where you start is where you start. Nobody can take that from you.
That's true.
Now, whether you keep going, now that can be determine your faith or your fate. So now, what do? I feel like, again, gatekeepers are the people who had it hard or the hardest because they did it back in 97.
Yeah.
They did it early 2000s, and they had to work their way up to now. They could just show up and they already made 20 grand, just for showing up, versus us. Hey, let me get a little 1,000. Let me get a little few $100. Let me get a free meal or something like that. But when it comes, when it comes down to it though, gatekeepers don't matter to those people who what's in you versus what you are to them, because you might be a peasant to them, but to the world you are a diamond in the rough. And then the hottest thing to show up is the sun. The sunlight that governs the day, that governs and the moon that governs the night. So if you shine in the day and also you shine by night by being the shining star that you are, nothing's gonna dim your light, because God says that if you follow my path or my word, I will bestow upon you grace, mercy, and forever endeavor more than overrunneth like your pot of money or your pot of fame or your pot of whatever you want to be. And I just believe in that.
Minister David. That is awesome.
I would be a ghetto pastor. I ain't gonna lie to you.
That's really, really good. So when God takes you to that height of influence where you are now in a position of power, how are you going to do things different?
Man, I'm reaching to help somebody else. I feel like my methodology too is reach one, teach one. I learned that through masonry. I learned that from my dad. I learned it from my great granddad and my granddad. So like 4 generations, I've learned that it's like reach one, teach one. I don't never know too much, and there's always so much more that I can learn. So like if I can help anybody, if anybody wants to be on the podcast, if anybody's thinking about starting a podcast, I mean, I'll put you in the right direction. I'll even have you on the show. It's just what we do. It's how we make it happen. Very what I'm saying? I believe that, like, again, meeting you, it was Rich's grand opening.
Yes.
It wasn't by chance. Like, I was here 2 days.
I know.
Because I came back, I was here one day and I came back the next day. I learned, I was like, yo, I got to get in the room. He said, now you here.
Yep.
Now you here. Now just show up. Do what you got to do. Yes, and network as much as you can. And even if they tell you not right now, it doesn't mean it's not ever.
That's good.
It just means that your time isn't it's not that time period for them right now. Yes. They're going through something, or they got a busy schedule, and you just happen to fit in. But where you fit in is not necessarily at the bottom. You're just not at that time. And when your time is right, you gonna sprout like the flower you are. You gonna be shining and do your things. But I always say reach one, teach one, and I always say too that like love is within the heart. Yes. And if you love what you do and you do what you love and you're passionate about what your craft is and you're doing whatever it is to perfect your craft, it might take, I took 1 month off because I couldn't get nobody. And people don't understand that like money don't fly by in this business. You got to go out and make it happen. And especially when you got children
family
and different things that may happen. Money don't fly like that. Listen, you got to get me while I'm hot. And even when I'm cold, I can still pull off something, because I learned 2 things. The art of hustle is by any means necessary, I'm going to go get it done. That's good. And the art of conversation is why I do this. Is because I learn more about people. And like I said, watching you on your TikTok, watching things that you say or positions that you're placed in, or you don't know why this is happening, but God has shifted you that way. It does something to the male mental in me that says, hey, I know that if I got on YouTube, or if, like I said, if I did some spoken word things, I probably hurt some feelings. I probably, what I'm saying, just because, just like I'm speaking to the masses, I'm also speaking to myself. Yes. And so a lot of things what I say and what I've learned this far in my readings, and I just started, I think almost a month right now, going back to church.
Oh, that's good.
So that really helped me control my energy, my spirit, and my mindset. And it was just like, I just got to hear the word. I necessarily don't have to understand it right then. That's true. Because you can always go back and get further teaching or further learning, or somebody that's defined they need. You just like, hey, listen, I need you. I need you. Just pray with me. Just pray with me. And I'll tell you something. When you give it to God, it hurts because you're complaining,
Lord,
or you are committing, or no, you're complaining, committing, convicting, and sometimes condescending, because sometimes we do that when we pray. But
Lord, help us.
When you give it to God, you're like, God, what you gonna do with this? Because I can't do it in the physical form, but you are working in the spiritual form. And when he puts you in that realm, in that room, it's just like, yo, remember that prayer you prayed? Remember the people you wanted to talk to?
Exactly.
Remember that money you wanted to make? Here you go. What you gonna do with it? And it's always amazing. It's always showing me. And so, like I say, daily I pray. I do my best to continue to walk by faith and not by sight. And I end up trying to change the music that I listen to sometimes. It really helps. But listen, it has been wonderful.
Amazing.
It has been great.
Amazing.
Listen, I want to say thank you. Yeah, we made it.
We made it. Grace of
Listen,
God.
man.
Come through, Holy Ghost.
Yes, it.
Yes.
Listen, thank y'all, man. Check out the episode, Real Shit Let's Talk podcast. Listen, man, tune in on YouTube, man. Let's get these likes up. Let's get these subscribers up. Let's Instagram. And if you need 20, now we got 21 days of accountability left right now, guys.
Wow.
Listen, I got an accountability 21-day accountability workbook for you, man. Listen, it is a transformable and discipline, change your habits into new ones. And guess what, man? Y'all can get it, man. Just tune in. Links in my bio. Y'all have a good one. We out.